Commissioner, it's been a few months since we've had you on your neighborhood. First of all, congratulations on your victory in last fall's election.
Thank you. Yeah, it's been since before the election I've been on, because we have the moratorium during the election process. Those of us that are running don't come on. So it's been probably a year, better than a year since I've been on. So I appreciate the opportunity.
Of course, and since that time, of course, your colleagues selected you to be the chairman of the Board of County Commissioners. How does that make you feel?
They did. It makes you feel great. I mean, it's an honor that my colleagues have put that confidence, that trust in me. And, I'm confident that as a group we'll be able to move forward through the next year and tackle some tough issues that we're facing. And we've faced some of them already. And get community input and hopefully arrive at what are fair and reasonable decisions.
How is this going to change your life? I know you wield the gavel and set the agenda and do a few other more ceremonial things and a few more things that setting up the meetings.
Yeah, it's a little bit more work, I think, for my staff and my assistants than it is for me. I mean, yeah, there are more ceremonial things that go with it in terms of, ribbon cuttings and groundbreakings and those sort of things. But those are also allocated to commissioners whose district that the various projects are in. It's a good opportunity for me to get out in the community a little bit more, meet some more people, and I'm enjoying it. It's been a month and I'm thoroughly enjoying the opportunity.
And something pretty cool and something I'm sure you're very proud as an American. You had a chance to meet the President of the United States here just a few days ago, and that must be...
I did. That was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. It's an honor, and the office of the President is just such an enormous thing. I mean, the magnitude of it, and to stand on the tarmac and see Air Force One just roll up, and then you walk to the bottom of the stairs, and he comes down, and you get 30 seconds, a minute, somewhere like that, to talk to him one-on-one and shake his hand, and to have that proximity to the President and understand what's going on is just absolutely incredible. It's an experience I'll never forget. And I was fortunate I got there early and spent about an hour with the Secret Service and the Homeland Security folks, and they took me on a tour and showed me the limos and how that works, and the SWAT teams and the snipers, and it was really interesting to see how it looks simple on TV that the President flies in and he gets in a car and goes to Del Sol and makes a speech, but when you see the logistics that are absolutely involved and the amount of vehicles that come in and the manpower and the protection that's necessary is just, it's amazing. It's really amazing to see it up close and live, and like I said, it was a great experience. I thoroughly enjoyed it, and it's once in a lifetime. I'll never forget it.
And finally, it can't hurt to have the President be even more well aware of what's going on here in Las Vegas and Clark County and what issues are facing all of us. Right?
It absolutely can't, and used every opportunity. He said, "How you doing?" I said, "I'm doing well." And he said, "How's things?" And I said, "We need jobs. Jobs are really important to us. We still have a problem with foreclosures." And he was very accommodating. He said, "Is there anything I can do? Call my office, let us know." And I'll plan to take him up on that offer because, we do need to do more in Clark County as it relates to jobs, get more of our people back to work.
Very cool. Commissioner, we're here at the Charlie Frias Park. I know you drive past this place probably every day a few times, and at one time for decades this was basically an eyesore here at Tropicana and Decatur, people living underground here and not having this fantastic recreation and flood control protection facility.
Right, it was an eyesore for years and decades. I drove by this on my way home, and it was to see the transformation that occurred here through first off the generosity of the Frias family, the donation that they made for this park, for the naming honor for Charlie, who I happen to know, Mr. Frias, and to have a facility here and driving by, I still see the parking lot on Tropicana is always full. I mean, there's so many people over here. There's so many amenities to be offered. I mean, there's a walking trail down below, a nice grassy area for families to play on. It's a little tougher now because it's still a little cool and the grass is brown, but in the summer and the spring, and you see the grass turn green, and you get families out there playing and picnicking, and the horseshoe pits and the basketball courts and tennis courts and dog run and the playground equipment. It's a splash pad I had an opportunity to play on with a young gentleman, Mr. Frias' great-grandson, I guess it was, or grandnephew. And we had a ball. It was absolutely a great time, and the park offers so much for the community, and it's desperately over-needed in this area. It was so desperate, the need for this and the amenities that are here, so I'm thrilled about it, and it'll get a lot of use.
And of course, the dual usage, the regional flood control district has created the flood control channels behind us and made this a flood zone as well, which is always fantastic to partner up these usages.
To incorporate that and to partner up, you're absolutely right. And I have been here during one of the hard rains that we had to see how the flood portion of this works, and it's amazing, the water cascades. And when you come here, if you had the opportunity to come here at the time, you could do so safely, and I would encourage anybody to drive out here one of those when we've got the roads that are all closed. It almost looks like it's a water feature that's added to the park. I mean, it's a waterfall that's going on in the far northwestern part of the park that comes down, and you see the water running through here. It's incredible that we can control the devastation that could be caused by that water otherwise. And we've had in the past tremendous amount, millions of dollars in property damage is done with the floods and potential loss of life. So this will hopefully alleviate and mitigate as much of that as possible.
Commissioner, attaching the Frias family name to this park, as you said, they made a very generous donation to help make this park happen. We've seen it now even out at the Clark County Shooting Complex, where a company called Gage Shooting Academy is sponsoring one of the new facilities out there. Has the time come for naming rights, for sponsorship rights, to help you folks build facilities like this?
I think it has, because we're so desperate for money. I mean, there's not, normally our parks are done with a roof tax. There's an allocation off every permit that's pulled to develop new parks, and we're just not getting a lot of development coming in. And at a time when parks are so desperately needed, and we complain that kids have nothing to do and nowhere to go after school and on weekends and on vacations, that this is needed. So if you can incorporate and give a naming right for somebody that done a lot for this community previously, Mr. Frias and the family, I think it's a win for everybody, and his legacy will live on in this park. And there's a nice board here that basically goes through his history in Las Vegas and how it came about, and it tells a story, and I think it's beneficial.
Commissioner, something that yourself and your colleagues have been wrestling with for years, and now we're going to see how this is going to work out, is the police fatality review process, which once was, of course, called the coroner's inquest system. Yeah. Just kind of bring us, I know you've been a keen observer of this, and I know you'll be watching the very first one that's going to take place later this month in February. Tell us kind of what has taken place, what's going to happen next.
Right, we're a little less than a month out from the first one that's going to be held in the Clark County Commission chambers, and it's a police fatality public fact-finding review. And what we've gone around and round about this issue, and it went up to the Supreme Court, the first thing that was done, and certain parts were ruled unconstitutional, and we made a change and we tweaked some of the things that were done and passed it a couple of meetings ago, and the first one is scheduled. What will happen is there will be a presiding officer that will oversee the process. Then there's an ombudsman that will represent the public and the family of the decedent, that will be able to ask questions of the lead detective that handled the case and the district attorney that presented the evidence, that made the decision about the evidence that was presented, to determine how they arrived at their conclusion, what their thought process was, what information, what evidence they had access to. No conclusion will be reached, no verdict, quote unquote, or anything of that nature. Opinion will be spoken at the end. I mean, it'll be left as it is, and basically that's a good thing. So everybody watching, what's what we wanted is everybody in the public can make their own determination whether or not it was a good thing, no shootings are good things, justified, or if there's a problem with the shooting, with the fatality, and we'll go from there. We'll see how the process works. There's no guarantee anything's going to work, but the thought was we'd try 3-4 of them and go through the process and see how it works if the information does get out there to the public, because the public does have a right to know what led up to this shooting and what actually was the precipitating factor for the shooting. And to get that information out to the public and transparency, I think is an extremely good thing. It's long overdue, and it's been a couple years since we've had something along these lines, and I'm hopeful and cautiously optimistic that this will work well.